Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Monday night, 8 p.m. The Online Darts Live Lounge returns. Myself, Phil Bars, and Jack Galwood this evening. We are running as a terrible twosome. The sickness bug has hit the Simpson household. Both Dan, Mrs. Simpson, and kids all laid up in bed. So we're just going with the two of us. How are we doing, buddy?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Yeah, ready to go. And I promise not to insult anyone this week in case we get phone calls again.
Oh, look, there's one subject. We're going to insult someone.
Probably, but it's funny, isn't
it? Yeah. Remember, Twitter voice calls or whatever it was.
No comment.
Interesting. Chat room is rammed already. Malachi, Bob, how we doing? Dell is in. K-Days. Darren, how we doing? Shouty. Chris is in. How we doing, mate? I'm sure I'll see you on Thursday. Cameron, David, Wayne, Daniel, Warren, Connor, Andrew. It is Ram. Samuel, how we doing? Good morning from Australia. Nice to have you all in. Red Viking, Mike, Rob is in. It's all good. It's rammed. Yes, did see that Mr. Humphreys has a nice new car, Bob. Done all right for himself, the old world number one, isn't he?
He had long bought the Volkswagen that he had.
He's got a nice Beamer now on his Instagram.
Yeah, there it is. Money changes people.
To be fair, at least he's gone with a Beamer. At least it's not gone like ridiculously posh.
Yeah.
But everyone, it is good. Gobbs had a run with it. Yeah, look. How were you after your mammoth week of refereeing?
I'm dead, mate. I'm absolutely dead. When I did the last time, I did 121 games before. I was a bit like, do you know what? This is what my maximum is, and it'll be interesting to do it. And now I've done it, I never want to do it
again. Fairs. Malachi, Luke Humphreys, not Mr. Littler. Mr. Humphreys has a nice new car on his Instagram. But yeah, look, it's been some week full stop of darts. It's just been non-stop, as it has been, and it's mental times.
It's just darts full stop, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Nicholas, hello everyone. Red Viking asks, who's doing the reffing all week at Modus? You're doing a few days, aren't you? It's spread around, I think, this week, isn't it?
I'm in tomorrow and Wednesday, and then I'm producing Thursday, Friday, and I'm commentating on Saturday. Sorry, with Paul Nicholson. So I think Owen's in for the rest. I can probably let you know.
Fairs. Good stuff. Yeah, look, let's.
Oh no, Paul Hinks is back in from Thursday.
Mr. 127 in game himself. Love that. Look, it's been a mental week, and let's start with the Asp Gob. He has finally completed the set. Before we look at the Euro Tour in a whole, and when you actually look at Nathan's career, do we perhaps underrate it a little bit? He's now won the complete set from Dev Tour, Challenge Tour, Pro Tour, Euro Tour, World Series event, TV Major. He has the complete set.
Right, fuck off with the World Series being in that complete set, or we're not having this conversation at all. That Mickey Mouse, fucking, all right, fair play. Tom Sykes won an exhibition last week. Chuck that in there as well. I don't know if he actually did or anything, but that's what level it is, right? So we can scrap that. Thank you very much. Before we have this conversation, let's get serious. I don't know. I think Asp is. We're just in this era, aren't we, where there are lots of players winning lots of titles, and I think this is going to become the norm a little bit more.
Possibly, I agree, but right now, when it's not the norm just yet. So when we look at it, the fact he's won at every level of the PDC kind of goes under the radar a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, look, it justifies their pathway, doesn't it? But also, you forget how close he's been to not being part of that a number of times. It's not been plain sailing for Nathan. I think that's fair to say from the beginning.
Yeah.
But I don't even know how you quantify it, but he is one of those who just has this fighting characteristic, doesn't he? Where he just finds a way to scrap through. And again, he is one of those players who knows how to win when he's not at his best.
100%.
And when you can do that, you've got this
100%.
ability to go and win multiple things in multiple disciplines and formats, or however you want to phrase the full set, etc. It is impossible for any player to play at their best all the time. The better players are ones that can get close to that level more frequently. But the difference is how many of those can then win when they're not at their best. Michael van Gerwen, when he was at his absolute peak of his game, won an awful lot of games when he wasn't at his best. He wasn't averaging 110 week in, week out. He had that fear factor about him, but he didn't need that all the time. He turned it on when he needed it to, and won ugly a lot of the time, which kept that legacy and that fear factor building for him. Aspinall is one of those who can win with his B or C game, a bit like Rob Cross. We say that about Rob Cross an awful lot, don't we? Won that UK Open title where he basically played his D game. And Aspinall just has that ability within.
Yeah, look, it's evening, Tom. It's remarkable, and I go back because we can pinpoint it. The Dublin Premier League night was the night everything changed for Nathan Aspinall. The game against Rob Cross was an absolute stinker from both, but he found a way to win. And then going on and beating Michael van Gerwen that night as well. And ever since that moment, it's almost as if you can see him playing with a freedom. The pressure isn't on those shoulders anymore. That was the night that I think Nathan Aspinall believed in himself again after everything he's been through. It has been hell, from injuries to almost career-threatening injuries to the dartitis, to problems off the hockey. And it all came to that point where he found a way to win the most ugliest game ever, beat MVG in the semi-final, and since then he's not looked back.
Yeah, and it's just about how long can he run with this, because this isn't going to last forever. We know that about Nathan Aspinall's career. He is a bit of a player who goes up and down. He's not going to maintain the level that he won this Euro Tour out for the weekend for the entire season. It's just not physically possible. So it's a bit like how long can he use that as motivation before he has to find motivation from something else? We know that Gary Anderson got motivation 18 months ago to 2 years ago, and it's how long has that been driving him, etc., to the point where he was practicing and returning to the Euro Tour, and priorities change a little bit at home, and it was just a bit of a perfect storm for him. And it's how long can Nathan Aspinall keep that going? Look, we know he loves the Premier League format. He is just one that grits his teeth, bears it, and goes, you know what, I'm here to do as much damage as I can week in, week out, no matter how I'm feeling. I'm not sure all the other players within the league have that mentality about that, and playing in the middle of that right now with the confidence of a title means that you could see him push on and do a bit more damage.
Yeah, look, and it's incredible considering his career was almost over at one point, coupled with the problem with his elbow and the damage to the tendons and so on. Then the dartitis. I remember seeing him in Brighton, which was probably the lowest I've ever seen him. He's spoken about this now, so I don't mind speaking about it. But when he came off that game against Peter Wright, I'd never seen a dart player like that, where there were tears, frustration, you name it. We saw it backstage. And I wasn't sure that these days were ever going to return for the Asp, but it just shows that with self-belief, good people around you, you can rebuild no matter what.
Yeah, it does. And I think the one thing I want to be wary of here is suggesting that all of a sudden everything is rosy for Nathan, because I'm not entirely sure that's true. And I think we've said the same about Michael when he's picked up titles in the past as well. Like, there were still stutters. If you go back and watch the semis and the final, there were a lot of regrips, a lot of rhythm ruined, and perhaps against a player more used to being in that situation within a final might have handled that differently. Now take nothing away from from Ryan Joyce for making that final or Nathan for winning that final. But it seems to be a little bit of a perfect storm. And what I don't want is to get carried away here going, Nathan Aspinall's the third best player in the world behind the two Lukes because he's won a Euro Tour.
Oh, no.
I still think there's plenty to build on before we can start going to that level.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. I completely agree with you there that it's not back to that level yet, but he now believes he can compete at the top table again. And look, he was one of the Premier League picks that there were question marks over. Has he kind of justified that now with, obviously, he's in contention for the top four in the Premier League, winning a title. Bunting was, everyone said Stephen Bunting was going to get to the O2, and he's pointless. Has Nathan kind of justified that Premier League pick now?
I think so. I think it's difficult to have that conversation about justifying picks when you look at the level that Bunting is playing at, because it is going to be an anomaly. The man is averaging 98, 97 or whatever it is for the entire tournament. He's playing at a level that has been good enough and high enough to compete in the last 4 or 5 iterations of this Premier League. And so far, he's unfortunate enough to come out with absolutely nothing. Think Kim Huybrechts when he was in the Premier League a few years ago. Like, you could talk about Kim's career now being very, very different. But if you look at that Premier League campaign, he genuinely didn't do a lot wrong. And he got eliminated from the early stages, winless, I think it was in the end, because he just could not buy a win. It was lots of 6-4s, 6-5s, one moment of genius here or there, and it happened. You get this in all sport. Think Moda Super Series, for instance. Derek Coulson on his debut finished third in Group C. He lost 4 matches. 3 of those were 4-3. While he sat on a finish, his opponent takes out a 10+ to win the match. Sometimes the timing just happens that way.
Yeah. Connor, you say that. Look, we didn't say he was going to get top 3. We said he's in contention. And why can't he get top 4? Because, look, is that 4th spot sewn up? In my opinion, no. Are there inconsistencies in everyone's game apart from Luke Littler at the moment? 100%. Do I think Luke Humphries makes the top 4? Yeah, he's got too many points on the board. But there's no guarantee that Gezi, Michael are going to stay in that top 4. There are inconsistencies in both their games, which Nathan Aspinall and Rob Cross could 100% take advantage of.
And the success of everyone else, by the way, might just start being a bit of a catalyst for others as well. This time last year or before last year, I pretty much had Rob Cross in the same position in the pre-discussions as we've had with Stephen Bunting this year. And it went terribly wrong for him. He was allowed to go under the radar. He's playing really, really nicely. For some reason or another, it just did not click for Rob Cross in the Premier League last year. This year, once again, he's going under the radar. We hesitated to hype him up because of the form of Bunting winning a World Series. Let's not forget, he has won a World Series just, 2 months ago?
Yeah, Bahrain. Yeah.
It's not as if he's completely devoid of ability or something. So we were hyping Cross up. Bunting similar position now, and Cross is just allowed to go about his business once again, but with the experience of being in that position last year. Yeah,
look, it's mad, and look, I don't know. Obviously, I know you had after you finished refereeing yesterday for Hampshire. I don't know. Did you watch any of the Euro Tour or not?
I had the final on. We had the final.
Did you see the semi-finals?
I watched some of the highlights, but not all of it.
The 170 from Aspinall.
I've seen that.
Right up there with one of the best shots that there is. Gary Anderson is sat on tops to win the match, and Aspinall pins the cleanest of clean 170s. Was just remarkable.
It is a great shot. Controversially, the 170 is great, but I actually think it's not in the top 5 most difficult outs.
No, I'm with you. I don't think it is.
You got 2 that is to say, and the bull is tiny. Like, the 161's more difficult, the 167's more difficult, the 139's more difficult, and a couple
132. The champagne shot. Yeah, there's
no backup routes for that. If you miss, is where I'm getting at. Like, 119 almost forces you to go 12 ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, 139 right up there as well.
Yeah, 139's horrid.
Yes.
Absolute horrid shot. But let's go straight to the Euro Tour. Then I know we talked about Asp, but let's dive in to the European Tour. First of all, incredible crowds in Göttingen this week. Yes, look, the Friday afternoon was a little bit slow, but most of the time it is on the European Tour. But from then, packed arena, great atmosphere. And again, like we see over here, ticket sales through the roof. It looks as if the European Tour is the same. The demand for tickets looks ridiculous at the moment.
Yeah, that won't change. Like the criticism of the Euro Tour is not about facilitating people to go and watch it. It's about format changes and the knock-on effect it has elsewhere. In terms of a product, in terms of showing the darts, they've got everything down to a T now. The way that even if you're watching on PDC TV, they cut to feeds elsewhere, you can still see the interviews, which was not the case at the start of last year when they changed sources and feeds and that sort of thing. But after some discussions, they've made it a thing. The music's much more streamlined and the graphics are really nice now. But actually, as a product within the building, the Eurotour DJ is one of the best in the world. Full stop. And it's great. Like, Philip Brzezinski is an exceptional MC, one of the best, not just in this sport, but in any sport.
He should be.
That require to be a polyglot in the way that he is, to be able to address the crowd and switch up between languages within the walk-on announcements, etc. as well, is so good. Really, really makes the viewing experience from people in the venue that little bit easier to follow and understand, etc., without needing other translators or anything silly like that. So yeah, look, in terms of a product as a whole, it's really, really good. Even things like the stage decoration. If you go back 10 years and look at old Euro Tour footage, it is the same stage week in, week out with the same graphics. The lighting's a bit poor and it just doesn't come across very well. Now it looks exceptional.
Agreed. Yeah, and look, Swiss Phil, as he's known. For me, look, Johnny Mac, with the greatest respect in the world, and he says it himself, is coming towards the end of his illustrious career. For me, Philip is the perfect replacement for that job.
100%.
I don't see anyone else out there going, one, I can do it, and two, are as good as what Philip is producing.
Well, if I'm being honest, we've seen the other bets that the PDC have to offer at the UK Open, and I promise not to insult anybody tonight, and it is only 20 past 8, so I'm just going to say they're not very good.
Right, they shit. Let's just say it.
Absolutely dreadful. And if he goes anywhere near it again in November, I'm going to be livid. Like, should be absolutely nowhere near that at all.
Yeah, look, I think Swiss Phil should be the man. Another topical point off of the European Tour was obviously Cami against Mike De Decker. What was your take on it? And a lot of people have called it gamesmanship, cheating, and so on. And look, did it put Mike De Decker off? Quite possibly. Has he done it deliberately? No, in my opinion. I think that's just the way he is and the way he plays on the edge. And look, he's not in control of his emotions. We saw that back in the day when he played Barry Van Peer at the Grand Slam all those years ago. Those mannerisms have always been there.
They have, but I kind of think that now might be the time to grow up a little bit and get out of them. There's only so much you can just shrug off as all they're boisterous or boys will be boys or whatever you want to describe it as at that point. And this does seem to be happening an awful lot now. There is a lot of, don't get me wrong, it is incredibly difficult in the pressure situation of playing professional sport. Fine. But there are still ways to carry yourself and behave. And I think now is getting a little bit close to that line of what's acceptable.
Does he need to go and see someone? Like sports psychologist or something like that?
I don't know. Possibly.
Because
certainly, there's two ways, isn't there? There's one that you can try and coax it out of yourself and make a change positively, or you go down the line of someone like the DRA start stepping in, and how it gets stamped out is through punishment. And what you don't want is the latter. So yeah, you probably need to go and do something about it before it becomes an issue, because now we're talking about it, now other players are talking about it, and the issue is it's entertaining, and the PDC are clipping it up and lapping it up because it's getting likes and retweets and whatever else on social media. And oh, isn't this brilliant? Menzies on the floor. Have you ever seen a more bizarre ending to a game? But well, yeah, we will see a more bizarre ending to the game when he does something daft next week at the end of a match.
Well, for argument's sake, look, Mike the Decker doesn't say a lot on stage. A bit off the stage, but not a lot on stage.
Plenty off the stage, silly boy. At least he's learned that lesson.
Could you imagine if that had happened against Gerwen Price, Daryl Gurney? I'm trying to think who else. Dirk. Dirk would have probably kicked him and thrown over him.
Yeah. It might be at that point. And the issue is that the player that retaliates or does something to ignore it or get on with it or tell him to get on with it is just going to be the one that ends up in trouble. And I don't think that's fair.
Yeah.
And I do think this is very different from players being slow, etc.
Cammy versus, if he done it against Vincent. I'm liking this one. Right, move. Where is it? In the evening, Dan says, "Good evening from the great city of Buenos Aires." Quote to John McDonald. 1-0 England. Also, a really, really fitting moment on the Friday goes out to Ricky Evans. In the build-up to this match, he kind of opened up a bit and what he'd been going through and what he was trying to do, how he was trying to put a smile back on his face. And those last couple of legs that he threw in, I haven't seen an intensity in Ricky Evans' eyes ever like that. What that meant to him, the concentration in those last couple of legs were like nothing I've ever seen. And the outpouring of emotion from not just him, but the emotion the crowd gave back to him as well was really heartwarming.
Yeah, it was, because darts fans aren't naive. I think plenty know that the heartbreak that Ricky and his family are currently going through. And look, we still send our best wishes to him and all of them. I think the concentration was to make sure that emotion didn't come out, because before the game on social media, it was, "This is for you, sis." After the game, it was, "This is for you, sis." And that was clearly on his mind throughout the entire duration of that. So to go in and put that performance in when you're under that self amount of pressure really is really, really impressive. Van Barneveld got a lot of stick on social media afterwards. Ricky's come out and defended him as well, and said how Raymond was the first to speak to him at a pro tour, and they've got so much respect with each other, etc. So I think that was a bit of a non-issue that was made into a bit more through social media, etc. in that moment. And yeah, like you said, it was a really, really great performance in that situation.
Yeah, well, you touched on that I think we forget and people get caught up in the moment that end of the day, Raymond's just lost. He's not going to be happy. Like we've seen, not just in darts, but in general sports people, when they've just lost, the rational thinking isn't there like it would be normally, and he just wanted to get off stage. Was the thing. He's lost in the first round of the Euro Tour. There's no ranking money for him, and so on. But like Ricky said, that they spoke backstage and everything like that as well. So yeah, just caught up in the moment a little bit. I think everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
Other noticeable performances as we go through. Ross Smith seems to be playing himself back into form. He'd been through a little bit of a tough time, but he's playing himself back into good nick.
I really, really like Ross. I think his game is solid. I think he's solid. He's a good lad. I think he perhaps got caught up. If you look at the timing of when his form dipped, it was when there was a wide open spot for the Premier League. He tried it a couple of years ago, didn't he, when he started dishing out shirts on the stage, etc. European champion performances last year, chasing that spot just a little bit too much. I just think he needs to keep building and being solid because his 180s are one of the best on tour. Great amount of nerve now, holds it really, really well. And he's back to one of the best walk-on songs in the world. So everything's going really well for Ross Smith right now.
And he's also gone for the military one haircut as well. I'll have the short back and sides, please.
Yeah, that might be my next move, to be fair. I'm getting a bit fed up with trying to maintain what I have got.
No messing around with that haircut. Evening, Preston. Good to have you in. And the Joker, John O'Shea, is in the chat room. Congratulations, my friend, on what looked an incredible weekend for yourself. Well done, buddy.
Title then, and then realised he won about 7 of the fuckers. So well done, Johnny. Boy, absolute class, mate.
Yeah, well done, my friend. Michael Van Gerwen, that this is a bit of an open-ended one because it will lead into the Premier League as well. We had quite an open conversation in our WhatsApp chat on Thursday when the pictures from Game 1 came out, and the dart in the hand, how he's got to the final and produced the levels he did on Thursday, I've got no idea. And I said on the stream on either Friday or Saturday before he played, it was like, now can he back it up? I'm amazed the standard he's produced with the action looking the way it is right now.
I am not. And there's a reason for this. And there's quite an easy comparison to make here right now as well. The all-time unofficial world record average for a darts game is held by Kyle Anderson. Kyle had one of the weirdest techniques on tour by the time he finished as a player. The idiosyncrasy of twisting the wrist almost the way he brought it back. When he first was on tour, really nice and solid. By the end of his career, let me grab a dart quick.
Oh yeah, I've got one here. It was he like God. It was like this. He'd bring it back like that.
Back twisted. So he had so much work to do with it. Now, when everything else is fine and dandy and the timing is right, the way it was set up and the way that he played was exceptional, well beaten, 9-dart hitting. Talks of the Premier League at one point. It was genuinely a semi-final against.
He was a dart away.
That was it, wasn't it?
He was a dart away in the European Championship from being. If he beats MVG in that semi-final, he's in the Premier League because he was hotter than hot at that point.
Yeah, 100%. When he was on it, unbelievable. When that action broke down a little bit, is the reason he never broke the top 16. Because that wrist had too much to do. So it wasn't possible to play at a ridiculous level for the extended periods of time. When Michael gets the timing 100% right with the way he throws right now, he will do crazy things. The issue for him is going to be there is so much work going through that wrist. One, getting the timing right is going to be difficult to do it at the same level as often as he needs to stay in the top 3, top 4, whatever you want to rank him in the world right now. The other issue is durability. He's already had issues with that wrist, and it might well be comfortable right now, but what he's probably doing right now is grinding away some sort of ligament, tendon, or something else somewhere else in his wrist. Because there's just too much going on with it.
See, I think Kyle and Michael are different because I get what you're saying, that twist to then come forward has to be right. But the dart down, you're then relying on gravity taking over more than you are.
Down when he's releasing, is it? Because I used to do this. I used to roll up, drop down, and then as you push through, it's up still. No, so it might well be down and pointing down. But because
I slowed it down, it is literally leaving his hand like that. The dart is leaving his hand pointing down.
Have you got a photo of it still? Can you drop it in here?
I can get one up. 2 seconds.
Yeah. Because what I'd love to see now is his thumb position, because I've not looked at this an awful lot. Because if it's flat underneath the barrel, what he can do is push upwards. If it's sideways, the amount of force he's going to be putting through that means his setup has to be on point. I refed a county player at the weekend who was having trouble with his dart staying in the board, and what he was basically doing is releasing with his thing like that. But when he's pushing through, over rotating, so the dart's going, he's almost pushing against the barrel. It was that upright.
Just
didn't know we were playing on a Mission Infinity 2 boards, which are absolute dross.
Are they?
The worst board on the market by an absolute country mile. The old Samurais weren't dreadful, but the minute they've switched to these Infinities with a light blue font on it, they are hideous.
Right, just uploading them now, and I'm uploading 3 pictures, and it's almost at 3 different points as well. Yeah. So there's one. There's 2.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 3.
Yeah, they're still on the back. I need to see it at the point of extension and release, I think.
Because when I was looking at it, the dart is leaving the hand pointing down. So yeah. Beforehand, the set, it was like that, where now it is, and it's leaving the hand like that. So he's relying on gravity to take over before anything.
The arc of the dart will do a lot in flight, but if what you need to then do is get a sweet spot. So like I said, the guy that I was referencing for at the weekend, what he's basically doing is pushing through the dart too much. So when it's getting to the board, it's hitting, then going up anyway, it's already too aggressive, and all the force is going through the side of the dart, not with the dart.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. That can he learn to play with this evolution of the throw?
Through it, but like I said, it's just going to be inconsistent. There are going to be days when he wakes up, and no matter what he does, the timing will be off.
Can he find a way to be consistent with that, though?
Practice and repetition, perhaps, but some days, no matter what he does, no matter how much he tries, something is going to be off of it, and he won't be able to find it. Because there's no measurable set point or anything like that within that, because there's too much going on. And if the slightest bit of that action is out, if he over rotates the dart as he's pulling it back a bit too much, or the thumb's slightly out, or the elbow's not right, or the arm stops at the wrong place by half an inch or whatever, he's going to struggle.
Yeah, look, it's a real interesting one. But he found ways to win pressure games at the weekend, which was the impressive thing. The Nico Springer game, Van Veen, Gerwen Price, he found spells to win big games. And that's something that he's not done. It's those pressure moments where he's broken down more in the last 2 years than we've ever seen.
Again, part of that might just be not trusting the change in the action. Part of that is a switch in mentality. Part of that is just being aware of that situation and being under pressure where he's not been in as much form. A player who analyses his throw an awful lot and look, was in this situation last week. Looked great Monday, Tuesday, struggled a bit on Wednesday, made it through on Thursday, Friday, and then by the time Saturday rolled around, was almost unbeatable, was Devon Peterson. We've seen him, he can talk about a throw till the cows come home, right? The man knows his throw inside out, every little part of it, every little thing that can possibly go wrong. And on Wednesday, he said it was wrong the minute he walked in the building. Now, I thought about it a little bit differently on Wednesday. It was Devon's to lose on Wednesday, and Devon lost it. And I think part of the issue with Devon's throw on Wednesday wasn't anything technical. It was tension. It was, I've got 2 days off here if I play the way I can, but I've got Graham Usher chasing me down. I've got the rest of the pack there that are there, and lost his first game, didn't settle right, was on first, the chance to build up some more points, didn't, and then spent the rest of the day chasing that and being under pressure. By the time Saturday rolled around, fresh slate, chance to go at it, and everybody else being talked up. Graham Usher, Jim McEwen averaged 97 for the week and got beat in the group stages on the Saturday night, which is an absolute joke of the level to perform to. There was no pressure on Devon, and he was able to just come through it completely. And his action was free flowing. It was set in the right place. Like, the adjustments he makes are minute. So I might be completely off. But part of that on Wednesday, I'm convinced, was tension rather than fouls. Van Gerwen's able, for the last 2 years, been playing with that tension because he's chasing a level again, because he knows he's under it. Now he seems to have settled a bit. He's got his footing back in the game, if you want. He's competing regularly. I think there's less tension in the arm, so he can just play with that a little bit more freedom.
Whilst we're on the European tour, we saw Stephen Bunting and Luke Littler skip this week. You're ET3. We know that there's no Gary or Littler, and there's a theme here that they're the ones that are a bit of a nightmare to get to. Do we think that PDC Europe will have to start looking at where they put European tours? And I appreciate that some of these events are long established, like Risa and so on. But if the top boys are just going to skip them, because I'm getting the impression that they're going to skip the ones that are a nightmare to get to, that in terms of selling tickets to those audience, are they going to keep buying tickets if they know Littler and so on aren't going to be there? If this trend continues, do we think they're going to have to look at where these European Tour events are being held?
The players have all the power right now, don't they? Let's be honest. Like, some of these venues are a pain in the ass to get to, but then again, so are some of the places in England for players flying in to get to for Pro Tours. The issue is that Euro Tours have a paying audience with a level of expectation, or so we're told. Tickets are going to sell, aren't they? Let's be honest. It doesn't matter if, who's not going to be there. These have been sold out for months or whatever else, or close to it. You can get Friday afternoon tickets if you really want them, but the rest of it, you're going to struggle anyway because it starts in someone's hometown. My worry is that these changes have been made to A, protect the Premier League players so they can fly into these venues, which they're then fucking not doing, and B, so that the fans in the venues get to see all the top boys protected and, oh, isn't this brilliant? Yeah, sound. If neither of those things are happening, what's the fucking point in the changes to the Euro Tour?
Yeah.
Because if the players still aren't going to do it, then put it back to the way that benefited the others.
Yeah, Rob, I like the sentiment. Players should be coming forward as a collective, going through the PDPA to get the venues changed. I look, that should be happening. I agree. I like that. Euro Tour in New Zealand. I'd be up for that.
Let me go back to the PDPA point, because you got more chance of starting a Bebo account to get it changed than you have getting anything sorted.
I can still log into my MySpace account.
I never had MySpace. I wasn't old enough.
Rob says, out of interest, is it only a nightmare for UK and Ireland players? What about those in Europe? That's a good question. So, in Germany, I've got have got the train from one part of Germany to the other. It was 4 hours, but it was very comfy, very reliable. So the train, if you are based in Germany, I think the train system will get you around quite good. From Holland, some of the German events are drivable, but some you have to fly. I'm not sure what the connecting flights are like, if I'm being honest, Rob. If you're Thibaut Tricot in France, say, you've probably got to fly to them all.
Depends on part of France. Well, you can drive anywhere across Europe, can't you? But it's how long the drive and stuff is, isn't it? It's how long you're comfortable with. And the fact is that some of these players simply don't want to be wasting an entire day after they've flown, then still traveling a nightmare. Like, if the flight doesn't get them close enough, what's the point in taking the flight?
Yeah. Like I know I won't name the players, but there's been some moaning, like Graz, for instance, coming up. There's no direct flight from the UK, and so on. So, yeah, look, I think
the other issue is like, how many of those players from these regions are actually qualifying for these events? Because if you look at the Challenge Tour the other week that was in Germany, an incredible percentage of players was still from UK based. Most of the ones that went to German Q School then didn't go to the Challenge Tour in their own fucking country, or the Netherlands, whichever way around it was. But like, they're in Europe and they're still not moving. So it's being moved, to be fair, and then the players that it benefits aren't bothering using it.
So this year, I remember, because the European Tour has changed a little bit. There are certain venues will be on 1 year. There'll be venues on rotation, so we say. So I'm just going through the venues this year and looking at it. It's not the worst European Tour to get to that we've had. So Wiesa was all right to get to. Göttingen was a bit of a nightmare. Riesa is a nightmare. Munich's okay, but players don't like it because it's Saturday to Monday and it's on Easter weekend. Graz is a nightmare to get to, but then we've got Sindelfingen is easy to get to. That's okay. Rosmalen is fine to get to. Leverkusen's okay. Kiel's a bit of a nightmare. Antwerp's fine. Prague's fine. Budapest fine. Basel fine. Hildesheim fine. So in terms of overall, we haven't got a Jena, a Trier. Do you remember a few years ago we had Jena, Trier, Kiel, Riesa? The list of ones to get
my
to.
UK geography is not the strongest, so I'm not the best to be asking about how difficult it is to get to these places. But yeah,
this year's European Tour isn't as bad as years gone by. Is the only thing I will say.
And they're still not fucking going.
What's that?
And they're still not fucking going.
Yeah. Chris, I disagree with this. It says the PDC as a business was created in the UK. If you don't know, look, it was created in the UK, but now look, half the tour is from continental Europe, so that they have to be catered for.
Half the tour aren't qualifying from continental Europe.
They're not, but they've still got tour cards, and the European Tour should be in Europe. Let's be. That's what it was designed for. So I don't subscribe to the Joe. I understand like Joe's point, but I don't subscribe to that way.
It's a tough one, this, because I fully agree with the European Tour having European legs, etc. When all the Pro Tour was based in the UK, which is what it was. Now it's not. So the double emphasis is on players from the UK to travel. Because there's more and more Pro Tours abroad now. We've been to the Netherlands, there's more in Germany, etc. Like, it kind of feels like that wasn't the deal.
It may not have been, but I think that things have to evolve. We've got 2 Q schools now, for instance. Q school always used to be in the UK. We now have 2. I know that first came about from COVID and it stayed, but I think that players have to suck it up. Is the thing. If you don't want to go, don't go. Is my thing on that. I personally don't have an issue with what the PDC have done with the European Tour and the Pro Tour travel and so on. Personally. But look, I understand why players have the hump. You look at, take Matt Campbell and Jim Long, they have to travel for everything.
Yeah.
Whether that be a TV event, a Pro Tour, a Euro Tour, a qualifier, is the thing. Look, would I like to see a European Tour event in Ireland? Absolutely.
Especially if they're not getting the Grand Prix back.
Well, don't worry. We'll come on to that later on.
Yeah, boy.
Like
I've done this before, innit?
Do you want to do the Welsh, not Welsh now?
Oh, while we're talking about Europe, we might as well.
The Welsh Open and Welsh Classic was announced at the weekend. And it's not in Wales again. It's stayed in Weston-super-Mare, which got social media talking, Gob.
Western by name, Western by nature. Last year, I understood. Even if people were up in arms about it because of the fact it was a Welsh Open, not in Wales. Right? They were tied into a contract with the venue who then couldn't provide, but they had another site, so they moved it there. The journey time to Western isn't horrendous from a large part of Wales, especially the bit that's inhabited by more people in the south, Cardiff, Swansea, etc. So that I understood last year. It was a needs must. The venue went down at short notice. Get the tournament on, keep your ranking status, which is silver ranked within that system. Fine. To then make a year later to go back to the same place doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to a lot of people, I guess. It cannot be the best option. Surely not. It just sounds silly, doesn't it?
Well, my issue is that, like you say, I agree. Last year, it was one of those things. It couldn't be helped because of Ponting's was it Prestatyn? It was.
I think so. Yeah.
Obviously closed. They had a deal with Ponting's, so they used the one at Weston-super-Mare. They had a contract. I completely get that. But then the wording of this year's one, the Welsh Open and Welsh Classic confirmed, right? Bearing in mind, this was yesterday. Having now secured a venue, we can confirm that the Welsh Open and Welsh Classic will take place in August. Now, the moment Ponting's in Prestatyn was closed and was not available, surely someone in the Welsh Darts organisation should have been, right, okay, where can we now host this event? Look, I get you want to have it on a holiday park because then people can stay. I'm guessing that the holiday company will put money into it and so on. But it doesn't have to be there. You look at the British Classic and whatever's at Bridlington. That's not a holiday camp.
August.
The Welsh is in August. August the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st.
Why is that site not being used for holidays in August? It's the school holidays.
Yeah.
Are they not now going to be charged a shitload more? Am I missing something? School holidays, you pay a premium to use those sites for because they can be used as the business. When you get them for cheap, October to February, because it's fucking freezing and nobody wants to be in a caravan.
There's a reason.
The reason that Minehead exists in the two spots it does is because Butlins is barely fucking used for the rest of the year. Its holiday season is busy. The rest of it is weekenders where you don't care about it being cold because you're that steaming you've got an alcohol jacket on. Am I missing something with this being held in the summer?
No, I agree. It's let's move the UK Open to Belgium and still call it the UK Open.
It's mad. It's like the Hampshire Open that's taking place at St Mary's in Southampton actually taking place at fucking Notts Forest.
Yeah, and the fact they've only just secured the venue and we're now in March, and the event's in August. And again, at the bottom of the announcement, both will be silver ranked events offering important points to the race to Lakeside. Now, again, this isn't, and I'm desperately trying not to sound like I'm bashing the WDF for this, because again, this is the way their system works. But at the start of the year, there should be a calendar of events that these have points that you can go and play in to secure your place at Lakeside or whatever that tournament be. This isn't the WDF, by the way. This is everything. Now, at the start of the year, if you're trying to get to Lakeside, so you've looked at the calendar and gone, right, I can go here to a silver event. I'm going to try these couple of bronze events because I can hoover up a few points. Right, they're not going to go there because that clashes with that. So that could be a good one to go to. And then we are, 4 months into the race to get points? Events are added. That just doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah, I agree. He's a bit daft. It should be set out. There should be a deadline earlier for me.
So just out of interest, does that mean that if I coughed up the fees for a platinum event, we could have the online darts classic and open over a weekend in a venue of my choosing, and if we pay the sanctioning fees, we can have a platinum event next week?
Probably. I don't know the ins and outs.
It's
sure someone will be along shortly that can tell us.
Yeah, I just don't get it. And I'm telling the missus, I'm going to the Welsh Open. Oh, where is it? Western-super-Mare.
Mad, isn't it?
And look, Lendo, I get the point with this a little bit, but they're not adding tournaments. It is the thing that we know the World Championships is happening. Agreed, we don't know how everyone gets there, but they're not adding to the calendar.
No, but that is a bit different, isn't it? Like, because they might announce qualifiers or whatever. For me, next year's World Championship criteria should be announced before the end of the current one. The same with the Grand fucking Slam. The way to qualify for the 2026 Grand Slam should be known before the end of the 2025 Grand Slam, because they work on a calendar year system.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
That's when this qualifying system runs for that, because obviously, well, actually, it's even earlier than that, because the fucking World Youth Champions already qualified from 5 years ago, the way that works.
The Las Vegas Open in Mexico.
They're both deserts.
But obviously, on that PDC announcement that Barry said on TalkSport, I think it was, that the announcement of the increased prize money and so on was due in March. We're running out of time a little bit here. He's got a week to get this information out.
Well, there's two things with this, isn't there? One, has Barry given a deadline that's in his mind that doesn't fit with the organisation and he's gone a little bit rogue? Because that's very possible knowing Barry.
Yeah. 100%.
And they're not best pleased with him either way.
Like when he told the world it was going to 128.
So both are due, yeah. And two, it might still be coming next week.
Yeah, look, they've got a week to potentially hit Barry's deadline. But look, again, with the same kind of matter, I moan about the WDF. The PDC players have got a right to know how and how much they're playing for at the World Championship.
And how to get there.
No, completely. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. Lendl, I get the point to this, but right, was at the time, was that handled appallingly? yes, but us in the media, what did we know, God? 3 months before it was announced it was happening?
Yeah.
So that wasn't a knee-jerk reaction to Fallon finishing third, but I appreciate the way it looked was horrific. But the decision had been made in July. The PDC didn't communicate it properly, and 100% they didn't. It was handled awfully. But that's like we knew we had stuff prepped in the back end of our website, waiting just to press go.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, they handled the announcement incredibly poorly, but it wasn't a knee-jerk reaction to Fallon. That decision was made a long time before they announced it.
The way they handled that, and the way that for 12 months Sky handled anything with her name on it, was a fucking joke.
To be fair though, they've done the same with Luke as well. Right. Like last year, especially, some of the again only get push notifications on the Euro Tour when Luke won or lost and stuff like that. But look, that's the game, isn't it? That's the beast that is being played, and that's what gets them clicks and so on. And whether it be Fallon and Luke or whatever. If they knew 3 months before, why didn't they not say it? Chris, we don't know. Like we say, we as media, we all knew we had stuff prepped in the back end of the website for 3 months, and we were just waiting for them to go with it.
Yeah.
And also the way they handled it, they made Fallon look awful in that as well.
Correct.
When it wasn't her fault that we knew that there was going to be 3 women in the World Championship like miles before that. So
they should have announced it before the tournament started. That weekend, right? Even before play started that weekend, despite the fact players are chasing each other down, and you get the odd person that might be cynical about it then. But that should have been known before play started publicly that was going to be the situation by the end of the weekend, and they fucked it up.
100%, because I remember there, because Fallon lost and she thought she was out. She didn't even have a clue. When she lost at that last women's series event, she thought she was out. But we all knew.
You can go back and watch us stream that women's series event if you want. Lots of people kept saying some Fallon's out there, and we're like,
we couldn't have dropped any more hints. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, we couldn't have dropped any more hints that we knew. Because I was in Dortmund and you were messaging me saying, "Is it coming out?" I'm like, I don't know. It was it was funny. Right, Premier League, Cardiff delivered on all fronts. Great night. Would the PDC sue you for openly leaking it? They wouldn't sue us, but look, as media outlets, not just us, by the way, but as in all sport, media get stuff early, so people can prep it, get it, get stuff prepped and whatever. The moment that you leak stuff and they don't trust your organisation, they're not going to give you stuff early. And that's not just the PDC, by the way. That's football, tennis, golf, or whatever. That the organisations have to trust the outlets. So otherwise you don't get that information. Yeah. Look, over the last, coming up, it'll be 5 years in July we've been doing this. The amount of information we get early and don't say anything that you guys wouldn't believe. So some of the things in our WhatsApp chat that we talk about before it comes out, but that's the privileges of building up those relationships.
Yeah,
is the thing.
If our WhatsApp's ever got leaked, we're fucked. I think most people in the world are in that situation, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. You see that with lots of football media. Yeah, exactly. Yes, the stuff gets leaked, and look, there is stuff that gets leaked that we get told it's all right to go, and there's other stuff that comes through with a great big email that says embargoed until this date, and then if you break that, you're going to get absolutely. You're not going to get that again. I think the best one we ever did, Gob, was the Gary Anderson putting out the Premier League. So it was in the build up to the Masters. I had the message: Gary will not be at the Masters and is out of the Premier League. Here's the rundown. And but by the way, this didn't come from the PDC either. This one, this came from some. It was like, prep yourself ready, but do not go until the PDC go with it. Okay, not a problem. We had it all prepped up, and literally as soon as the PDC announced it, we pressed go. And we had it out within 10 seconds of the PDC announcement.
Sat ready, bang, bang, multi-channel. How the fuck did you boys do that?
And that happens in all media. That's the way it works. That's the way you build up trust and so on. How do you think that we do?
Tots TV, sac magique. That's how we get it done.
Yeah, that's how you build up thing. That's how I get to do Premier League lineup videos and have it ready to go out for 1 o'clock in the afternoon when they put the lineup out and stuff like that.
Not so much me, because I sit here calling them crap.
To be fair, Gob, you love it when the message comes in the WhatsApp chat. This must not leave here. That's always the first one, isn't it?
Yes.
and then the information. But look, Cardiff, we return to the Welsh capital, and what a night it was. Arguably the best moment of the night, but it also stunned the crowd, was Rob Cross's 170 finish to beat Gerwen Price in a last leg decider after they'd done a bit from the chippy.
The boy's got a set of gonads, hasn't he? Rob Cross, superb finish, like you said, to take that out under that much pressure in front of that crowd. You sort of feel for the Welsh because they are really good fans. They travel in numbers to Minehead. They only really have this one event a year. They've had success with Johnny and Gezi that they've been really keen on showing the world, etc. But they're one and only this year, beaten in the first round, so they don't get to see him for the rest of the evening. Other than that, Luke Littler doing what Luke Littler does. The boy's a joke. Dobie winning that scrappy one to start. I was very disappointed with the level of bunting in that one. Doesn't get any easier for him for the next few weeks, does it? It doesn't in any of this Premier League, to be fair. Yeah, that's the Premier
League. Preston, how does one get an invite to the WhatsApp chat?
You don't. Because the minute you're in it, then it's not private, is it?
It's funny. There's been people that have been in it, then out of it, and Rab calls them coconuts. Laura, it was a serious set of coconuts. But look, the 9-darter in the final as well, and he remembered which way he was going to do it on the 141, the treble 19 double 15 route.
Yeah, Rowan Binks is very proud of himself for this one, isn't he? After messaging him on Instagram, asking him which way he's going to go if he's on it because he was spotting the night and then getting it right. Still convinced it's the wrong route, by the way. But the first one ever finished on double 15, televised, that is, live. He's just got it, hasn't he? And he's clearly very good. He's been very good for a long, long time now. But I think we're at the point now where he wins what he wants. He has that switch now. And his top game is at the end of his fingers when he wants or needs it. And that's a scary place to be, because what that does mean is he can keep some in the tank against early round opponents. He doesn't have to fully go at it. You don't have to chase this level all the time. But he knows when he needs it or wants it, it's there. And what that does mean is that he's going to win anything. Anything and everything that he fancies at the moment is going to be Luke Littler's to win. Because even if you produce your very best game against him, what he can do in the moments when you do that is turn on his best game. And with all due respect to every other player on the planet right now, his best game is better than your best game. It just is. If you didn't enjoy darts when Phil Taylor was dominating, grab onto your seats, because in an era where it's never been more open, this kid's going to win everything.
Yeah,
over and over
100%.
and over again. And the only reason you're going to see new winners is when he's sat at home opening packs on fucking FIFA for the weekend because it's an extra 20 minutes on a train somewhere and he can't be asked to go there in Europe.
Yeah, it is funny. But at some point, there will be a dip in form. Like with every sports person, at some point, there will be a dip. And it's how you come out the other end of them. Look, at the moment, I don't see where that comes anytime soon.
I'm not sure there will be a dip at the
I think
moment.
there will at some point. I'm not saying it happens anytime soon.
It's inevitable, but the other thing is, what we've never really seen in this situation, the closest you've seen to it is Peter Wright and his pursuit of greatness by changing darts week in, week out. Is Luke has the ability to throw his darts differently. If it's not working, he changes his grip, or he changes his release, or he changes the timing, or the way he sets the dart in his hand. And to be able to do that is something we've never seen before.
It reminds me, again, we've spoken about this before, Rashid Khan, the cricketer, where he's got 7 or 8 different grips. If the ball doesn't feel right in his hand, he just goes through those grips until on the day he finds one that it does. And there's a great piece where him and Shane Warne do a bit together where Shane only had 2 grips, standard grip and the wrong one. And he's like, what? And Rashid, and it was like very, very comparison here where a dart player will only have 1 grip where Luke doesn't. He was like, no, right, it's not working. Right, what do I go to?
Yeah. Like, some players will have some things they can do to change it up. Like someone that you know pretty well, I reffed him at County Saturday and Sunday, doubled up. Justin Bradshaw had an issue. He gets his darts to go in a bit, but they land quite flat. Worked really well for him on Saturday against a slow opponent. On Sunday, played with a bit more fluency, but was drifting a lot in the 5-on-1. So by the end of the day, he got his dart stick up a bit. He moved his thumb placement back on the dart and kicked him up a bit more instead. Like, some players can make that one change where they hold the barrel. Who said that recently as well? I'm sure someone said it recently at a high level, just said, move my thumb back a bit and found it. Duff, maybe? Mace said it in your interview.
Yeah.
Mace said it in your interview when he went off stage 2 sets down against John Henderson. He was in a world of trouble. He changed his grip on the barrel, found something, and had John going for 3 sets and lost in the most ridiculous fashion. Some players are going to have that one little change they can make. And even then, Mace will tell you that's not the way he throws a dart. He just went to try and find something, and it worked for him. But it's not something he's going to replicate week in, week out, because it's not the way he throws, and it's not what normally works for him. So some players might have a short-term fix. The fact that Luke is so fluid between these changes is just going to be a real weapon for him, because the minute one's not working and needs to call on something, just changes to another.
Yeah.
I knew someone had said it somewhere.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Right. We are heading to Newcastle this week. And it is 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, 6 plays 3, and 4 plays 5, dictated by your league positions. It doesn't get any easier for Stephen Bunting. And how do you go into the halfway point feeling, knowing that you're playing well and have nothing to show for it?
It's difficult, clearly. would be a lot more difficult in the previous format where you're going home. The fact there is no jeopardy in this Premier League is a bit meh. Said that for a long time with this format. And I don't particularly enjoy night 8 or 16 either. We had the weird situation last year, didn't we, where we had back-to-back weeks that were identical because of the way these fixtures play out.
Yeah.
Can't quite see that being the case this season because night 15 Littler plays Humphreys. So we'll get away with it this year. But the fact that that can happen, I just find a little bit strange as well. Yeah, like I said, I don't particularly enjoy this bit of the format. Tough night for Bunting. Everyone else is, I think, and Dobie, to be honest. Everyone else is pretty decent matchups, which is how the format's supposed to work. But what that means is we've got the potential of seeing Luke v Luke again.
Yeah, well, the quarterfinals being Luke Littler takes on Stephen Bunting, Gerwen Price takes on Rob Cross, Luke Humphreys, Chris Dobie, and then MVG against Nathan Aspinall. So this is your time as well, chat room, get involved. But first of all, the all-important question, Gob, will we have flags? Will Sam Fender be there in some point? And will we see the trophy?
We'll probably have flags. Sam Fender is just Ed Sheeran, but with a silly accent. No, that's a positive thing. I was trying to be insulting then. If they have flags, I'm going to kick the shit off. I'm going to fucking actually going to go mental. I'm going to lose my shit. When is... If they have the trophy, then we better be allowed the fucking Premier League trophy in 4 weeks' time.
But will Liverpool have the trophy by then?
Yes.
Will you've actually been presented it?
Yeah. Well, I'll fucking make sure we have. We can present it at the M&S Bank Arena. There, job done. Don't need that much. You don't need the police presence then, because you can just do it all in one whack.
Fairs. No, they won't. Slot is a darts fan, by the way. That's interesting.
Get him there.
Get him on the stage.
Slot. La, 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 la.
So, right, time for score predictions. Quarterfinal number 1, Luke Littler and Stephen Bunting. Does the bullet produce the upset or does he remain pointless?
Pointless.
Score prediction?
6-3.
I agree. I think remains pointless. And I'm going 6-4. Gerwen Price against Rob Cross, a repeat of the quarterfinal from the Motorpoint Arena in Cardiff. Will it be repeat or revenge?
Repeat. 6-4, Roberto.
I'm going revenge. I'm going 6-4 Price. Go on, Harry. Luke Humphreys against Christopher Dobie. Will Coolhan silence the home fans, or will we get another rendition of Local Hero?
Local gets bashed up. 6-1 Humphreys.
Wow.
Take that, Simpson, while you're not here to give it large. Go on, son. Yeah, go on.
I think Humphreys wins, but I think it'll be closer. I'm going to go 6-4 to Coolhand, and then MVG against Nathan Aspinall to round off the quarter-finals.
Six, 3, Michael.
I agree. I think Michael wins. I'm going to go 6-4. I think it'll be quite close. From chat room, your predictions and yours, Gob. Who have you got beating who in the final?
Getting a bit bored of saying this, but this week I'm going to give it the little shit this week. Luke Littler wins 6-4 against Luke Humphreys.
I'm going... I'm going to repeat of last week's final. And I think the outcome's the same. I think Luke wins his 4th night. Asp beats Price. We've got Humphreys beats Gezi. I've got Littler 6-1 MVG. Some good predictions in here. Is anything going to be done about Menzies? I don't know if he'll be reported or not. I suppose a lot will depend on whether Mike the Decker has taken an issue with it and spoke to the tournament director or not. We got some CDC news last Tuesday as well, Gob. The teams for the 2025 Cross-Border Challenge have been announced, and I have to say, the USA look very, very strong.
Yeah, I've got a good record in predicting this tournament, if I'm being completely honest about it. This is the first year in the last 3 or 4, last couple of years, a lot of people have spoken up the USA, the likes of Gates, etc. And they haven't quite delivered. This year, that Canada team just doesn't look as strong. It's missing some big hitters. I think the USA wins it quite comfortably. I wouldn't be shocked to see an All-American final. I wouldn't be shocked to see a lack of Canadians in the semi-final either, if I'm being completely honest.
I think a lot depends on the draw, and I don't know how well Jeff Smith is playing at the moment.
Seeded, isn't it?
What's that?
It's seeded, isn't it? So number 1, Canada plays number 8, America.
But no, there's 6 picks and then 2 wild cards for each.
Yeah.
So I look at Jeff Smith from Team Canada, thinking that he can do a job.
He's always been able to do a job. He's just got a lot of heavy lifting to do, because there is a nichety to this event, isn't it? Is that even a fucking word? There is a team event and the singles event going on at once. So you sit around and you support your mate or whatever else. The more Canadians they get through the first round, the better. But then they could be your opponent, stopping you from winning the title, etc. So there is that, which is a bit different and might be difficult for some to comprehend a little bit. But as we said, look, the Americans just look very, very strong this year.
Yeah, so look, let's go through the teams. Team USA will be Leonard Gates, Stowe Bunce, Adam Savada, Alex Spellman, Jake Womack, Gary Mawson, Doug Bain, and Jeff Springer. Team Canada will be Jacob Taylor, Steve Warnock, Jeff Smith, Jack Robinson, Jason Roker, Chris Cadwell, Carly Edmonds, and Albert Anstey. Now, there are some big names missing from Team Canada. Some were unavailable. Some have turned it down, which is obviously disappointing when you hear players that have turned down a great opportunity to go and play in this event.
Yes. Hang on. Can you just correct Mr. Bradley for me a second?
What's that?
Gary Mawson's still about the only other US major finalist.
Larry Butler won the match play.
Larry Butler won a fucking major. Close enough, Christopher.
But I look at the strength of USA, even the wild cards. We've seen Jeff Springer play at Lakeside and play well at Lakeside, and he's not even seeded for this event.
They just look great. But the fact that Bayman, Springer, that are the two are like they're both solid. We've seen them both at the Super Series or in the UK in the past. Springer at Lakeside, Bayman at the Super Series, etc. Like these guys have been there and done that a few times in this circuit as well. Now they've got CDC major experience, etc. So yeah, look, the Americans look very strong. The fact that Savada, Gates, Spellman are all within that as well. I expect the title to come within those guys.
Yeah, I agree. Unless Jeff Smith produces. But like I say, I don't know how well Jeff is playing at the moment. There was a big event in, was it Virginia Beach this weekend, which I saw Spellman win one of them.
David Cameron went close in another, I think.
Yeah, so there's the big USA boys are in form at the moment as well. But look, it will be a great event. Love covering the cross-border challenge. Robbie has asked, what has happened to the young Canadian land, blonde with glasses, beat James at the World Series once? You're thinking of Dawson Michelle.
Gave up to go back to college, I believe.
Yeah, he went back to studying.
Yeah, and he had a clothing line at one point as well. I believe there was murmurs of him playing not necessarily CDC stuff, but maybe DPL stuff a couple of years ago, but I've not really seen his name in the major darting circles in the last couple of years, unfortunately.
No, when he got his tour card, he came over here and based himself in St Helens for a couple of years.
Was really, and still is, really good friends with Ted Everts.
Yeah. He does a lot of gaming as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, his nickname was Awesome Dawson.
Made the final that year, didn't he? When he beat Wade, or did he just wait one win?
I know MVG won it that year.
Yeah. It was Dev Tour age as well, I think. Went deep in a World Youth.
Yeah, but yeah, disappointing the likes of well, not the likes of, certainly that Jake McMillan turned it down this year, because he was one of the ones that has real potential and real promise. But look, I guess having a young family and so on, he's not ready or whatever that may be.
Yeah, I was really, really impressed with Jake when he came over here to play in the Super Series as well. Won Group A, couple of days off, went through a bit of the curse of Group A when that was a real big thing as well, where they just barely got out of the groove, loses early on Saturday in game number one, and then you're chasing up against it, etc. Really impressed with the way he carried himself, really, really polite, really, really good dart player. One of the guys that comes over that you're impressed with their counting as well. It is still a bit of a stereotype, but a number of the players that come over from North America are shocking counters. Some are very, very good. Jeff Smith, Jim Long can count sometimes. Stowe Bunce is a very, very good counter. Very, very good, but a lot of them are not. So, yeah, impressive his all-around game. Seemed to struggle to push his name up the rankings in the CDC in the last couple of years. And yeah, just waiting for that next step from him, because I think the game's there. I've seen it firsthand, like I've said. I just want a little bit more from him now. Whether or not that's the priority in life for him at the moment is a completely different question. We'll have to ask him at some point. But yeah, really, really good lad. Brought his partner over, got on really well, both of them, sort of thing. Like they went and did the tourist attractions and all that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, just a shame we're not seeing him a bit more. Him and JT Davies came over as well. Not seen him competing at that level for a while now. So yeah. Leonard Gates is possibly the worst counter I've ever met in my life.
I love the fact, though, that he looks up at he's trying to work out himself. Ask the ref.
Someone did that the other day. Someone looked, hesitated, paused, and then threw it an 18 when they wanted a 19 to leave a finish. Or the other way around. Like, I see some ridiculous counting. Not staggers me, by the way. The amount of county level players that can't count.
Really?
Yeah. Astonishing level of people that play this sport still cannot count, that leave bogeys all the time and whatever. It is ridiculous. There's a player local here as well. I won't drop his name in it, but I think he won like an ADC event yesterday, day before, who is that bad at counting. If he's on 90 something, his first move is just to hit a big number that leaves him on a level number. So if he's on 94, he'll hit a 14 and then try and hit tops or something, or just throw it 20s, because he just cannot comprehend anything that doesn't have a naught on the end of it.
Really?
Yeah. Fucking great player as well, and he wins so much more than he loses, but it is ridiculous that that's the way he plays the game.
Wow.
Like, if he's on 103, he will score 3, because that's how his brain processes that breakdown. He'll hit a 3 first to level the number off, and then he'll go for the next 2 darts.
Interesting.
I think that's why academies are great, because you look at a lot of the kids and they are absolute wizards these days, the way they're chucking around the board, the way that they're looking at 6-dart outs from the moment you start a leg. And yeah, the future is strong. I think a lot of the old boys can't teach an old dog a new trick. Some of these boys might just be made into dinosaurs a bit quicker than they want. Yeah, I love you, Johnny boy, but every single time, we even walk off a stage and look at John and go, fucking hell, mate, why have you done it again? He knows full well that was aimed. I love him though. Like, we have a good laugh about it, but again, like, people used to laugh and absolutely love when when Jose de Sousa miscounted, and respectfully at that level, was he Premier League champion, major finalist, whatever else? You are actively throwing away opportunities in your job. Like, if I'm a tennis player and I can't hit a backhand slice, what I'm not going to do is just ignore the fact I can't hit a backhand slice. What I'm going to do is go away and work on hitting a backhand slice, so that I've at least got one in the locker and it doesn't cost me in any situation by not being able to play that.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, I don't know if you saw it on the Pro Tour, but oh my, Jose de Sousa's action. Oh my word.
I have not seen Jose de Sousa's action, but now I feel like I need to go and watch it.
We have got, so he's spinning the dart in his hand and fingers. The shoulder is involved. It's like a Chisnell release. He's going like this afterwards now. It has gone completely gone. Like, the action always used to be quite smooth, didn't it?
There was a moment to it, yeah, when he was, incredibly smooth, just solid base, really, really easy going. You worry how much longer Jose's got left on tour at that point, because he's not exactly flying in the rankings. He's not getting any younger. He was already pretty old when he came to the sport and had his success. Sad.
Oh, look, he's going to lose his card. There's no question about that. And Matt, he's always spun it, but not like this. This was like literally fidgeting in the fingers. Yeah, John, it's completely. Honestly, I've never seen anything like it. It's literally the worst I've ever seen it. Which is sad, to be fair, because look, at one point, he was one of the best players in the world for a period.
Yeah, he certainly was. We seem to be having this conversation about a lot more dart players these days. Look, it happens in sport. You're going to get turnover of players, and what we have managed to get used to in the last, in this sport, perhaps more than any, is a little bit of sentiment, because you do see players playing until they're 50 and 60, etc. Phil Taylor, Peter Wright, Gary Anderson. You don't really get that in any other sport. Snooker a little bit. There's only so much that class of 92 can cling on for. Mark Williams turned 60 the other day. Might be 50, actually. No, it's got to be something. I don't know. I saw it posted. Maybe someone's taking the piss for the age. But
yeah, he's not 60.
But these guys ain't getting any younger, and they're going to be a high turnover of players at that point as well. It's going to happen. There are places for these guys to play if they're still competitive and can play. The seniors, if you get the invites, or
50.
I'm sure someone put. I think it was Ran Evans taking the piss. Definitely called him 60 the other day. I find the tweet. I'm convinced of it. You're all making me. Evans tweeted, "Happy 60th, you old fart." Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah. Super Series this week. Obviously, you had a up close version of it. How does Andreas Harrison not have a tour card?
I think if we were having this conversation Friday morning, in the early hours of Friday morning, or even Friday afternoon, I'd be asking the same question. I genuinely wouldn't know. The level that he produced on Thursday night was absolutely astounding. Back-to-back 111 averages, missed darts at double within those performances as well. Had another 100 in there somewhere, which was a lot higher for 3 legs, and started thinking about it in a 90-something where he had 1 disaster leg as well. The level that he played at against the level of competition in that group. Jim McEwen, former champion there, major seniors finalist, Devon Peterson, Chris Quantock, former tour card holder, Paul Hogan. Not easy to beat in any shape or form. To run through that card with the ease that he did will not happen again. If you put those players in the room again together and said, go on and go and give it a go, you could give him 50 more opportunities. That ain't happening again. I think the reason that Andreas doesn't have a tour card is the level we saw from him on Thursday and Friday. On Friday and Saturday. Now, he's got the ability to win ugly. He doesn't have to perform at a ridiculous level all the time. And what we probably have to do is give him a little bit of slack as well, knowing that he travelled late Thursday morning or early Thursday morning, so it was a bloody long day. Was ill as well, admitted that before he even walked to the room, was like, I should play with a flu and a cold more often. But I think that level under pressure to back it up again on Friday and Saturday probably showed a little bit. And the other simple answer is Q School is not the system in deciding the best players in the world.
I was about to say, and John's in the chat room as well, that it just again highlights the flaws in the Q School system. Because I want to see the best players on tour. But we've said it till we're blue in the face. This current system, we don't get the best players always coming through. Look, some do, but not always. But so chuffed for Devon to get back to winning ways as well.
Very much so. Like I said, it was in Devon's hands on Wednesday. We spoke a little bit about him and his action earlier, etc., and the intention and whatever else. When Devon first played at the Super Series some 18 months ago, he played a Group B, I think, or a Group C, one of the two, but he played a 2-day campaign. And at the end of the first day, I think some people were ready to have a difficult conversation, and the fact that the level that Devon was playing at would not warrant another invite. That's how far Devon had fallen at that point. If we're being completely honest, the injury, the chasing the level, coming off tour, etc., that opening day from Devon put serious doubts about the level that Devon Peterson, the dart player, can achieve. Devon Peterson, the person off the board, unbelievable, and what he's doing right now with youth darts and the International Darts League and Dart Maths is quite ridiculous, to be honest. But in that moment, there were serious doubts about whether or not Devon Peterson could continue to play if he was going to produce the level that he produced on that first day. He played a bit better on the Friday, went, all right, actually, you've dug yourself out of a bit of a hole there. Since then, every single time he's been back in that building, he's got better and better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Far more confident, flowing a lot better, is the ADC Global Champion, has won a week there now in a Champions Week that is still relatively open. Derek Coulson has been great. Scott Campbell is the player who has the second best running average to qualify for that. I think, without being disrespectful to Scott, that in itself tells a story. Scott is playing great darts at the minute, but if you look at the names and players that have been there and done that in a Champions Week before, Scott Campbell isn't on that list. So to produce that level, to get back in there and to keep competing the way he is, and I genuinely don't think I have ever met a man who has as much self-belief as Devon Peterson. And that's not misplaced arrogance. There's a fine line between the two, but it is just raw self-belief in what he's doing and delivering, not just for a country, but for an entire continent.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And yeah, like you say, it is just sheer belief. He still believes he will be a world champion. And that's not arrogance. That's just he genuinely believes.
Before I moved in here, I stayed at the player's house, and Devon was in there sometime last year. So when did I move in here? Probably around this time last year, maybe a little bit off. In fact, I think I popped around to use the washing machine, and Devon was staying there. And I said to Devon, what's the plan? And he went, I'm going to qualify for the World Championships, I'm going to win it, and then I'm going to change the world. And that was 12, 14, 16 months ago, when the levels of progression in his game perhaps weren't there to be seen. Now you're building on it, you're going, well, do I disagree with the first bit? Probably not at this rate. Where can he go with the rest of it?
Oh, look, he is changing the world in darting terms. What he's doing for the continent of Africa is ridiculous. And look, I'm sure in 15, 20 years' time, we will see the fruits of what Devon is doing in Africa, because it is incredible. He's giving people hope. He's giving people dreams of their own. And look, without Devon, do we get the Peter Washiri story? Probably not. Do we ever know of Simon Adams? No. Do we get Cameron Carlson producing a career best performance at the World Championships to push Wessel Nyman the whole way? No, we don't. This is all because of what Devon is doing on that continent.
Yeah, Kendrick Cordum, Hilton Klein as well, that have both appeared there. We've got a team Kenya playing in the International Pairs Week.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And that's all on Devon. And the flag bearer that he's become for that continent. And when you look at the fact that these players are look at that World Championship qualifier, look at Washiri, look at all the other players that are competing in the round, and there's so much potential there. And the beauty of darts remains that actually the cost of the game is still relatively low. Traveling is expensive, but actually at grassroots level, there aren't many other sports that you can play as cheaply as you can play darts. Football's probably the only other one because you can literally get a ball and chuck a couple of t-shirts down for goalposts.
Jumpers for goalposts.
Yeah. After that, darts is right up there with how accessible it can be. With the let's be honest, you can go out and buy a decent set of tungsten darts that will do you all right. A couple of plastic stems and flights for around 20 to 25 quid still.
100%.
You can get an okay board for 20 to 30 quid. If you want to go more than that, fine, a bit more expensive and whatever else. And if you want to play with the top quality equipment, a good set of darts and a good board are going to set you back around the 200 quid. But that's your cost.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it's incredible, and look, fair play to Devon. Look, I love him to bits. We saw some news in the Irish newspapers, which were made for quite interesting reading, and I had an argument with someone on our Facebook page because he was being a dick. Because what's this got to do with darts?
Yeah, I saw
Idiot.
that.
What's that?
I saw that.
Yeah. The numbers have been released. How much the City West got paid to house Ukrainian refugees? And by the way, I'm not
international projects, I think is the correct term.
But we all know what's hotel paid 68 million. 68 million. 1.3 million pounds a week in 2004. Euros, sorry, yeah. That's
an important distinction to make.
That's absurd. And look, that news that the darts isn't going anywhere near the City West for a long time, because if you're the owners of that hotel complex, you're lapping that up all day long.
Yeah, fucking too right. If you're in that position, definitely. At this point, it looks clear that the PDC aren't going to return to Ireland anytime soon for that particular tournament. Has it found a home in Leicester? Not convinced. Will it go back to that particular setting? Clearly not. What needs to happen now, regardless of this venue, if it's not available, what the PDC have been doing is searching for another venue in Ireland that could take this over. Matt Porter's openly admitted that for the last couple of years, even said it on an interview, an open invitation. If you can suggest a venue that can host this for this amount of days in this time frame, please get in touch with us. There is a difference in size and time frame of venue needed to host a Euro Tour event in comparison to a PDC televised major. You can go in either direction with a crowd. You can go bigger, which isn't an issue for a Euro Tour because it's 2-3 days. You can have a couple more thousand in there. You can go tighter or whatever if you really want. But what Irish darts deserves is more professional level darts.
I agree.
So if it isn't going to be the Grand Prix, one Premier League in Belfast and one Premier League in Dublin is not enough for that island.
No, I agree. And
not with an S, not IR. I'm not confusing where they are before anybody comes for me.
Yeah, look, 100%. And I know some people have said, "Oh, just use the free arena." It's like, right, the Three Arena is too big to hold a major. You are not going to sell out the Three Arena for 9 days. And the cost of the Three Arena is obscene. I think it's somewhere in the region of £125,000 a day.
Mental.
So to have that, the tournament's 9 days, you need that for 11 because you've got set up and D-rig.
Yeah.
Is the thing. So it's mental. But yeah, look, I make no secret of the fact that the Dublin Premier League is my favourite Premier League night.
It's an amphitheatre, isn't it? It's not a soulless bowl like you get with Sheffield.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, some interesting news coming out of Ireland. Have we missed anything else in a week of darts, Gob?
Not big news, I don't think. County weekend.
It wasn't a full county weekend, though, was it?
No, ours was brought forward, actually. It's meant to be next weekend, but because of the Home Nations, which starts next week, so there's a few players out with that. Glamorgan are missing quite a few in the Welsh team. What else did we miss? There was Chapel St Leonard's Festival of Darts, but I can't really tell you one. Bogree's won an awful lot.
Oh, I saw a lot of people on Facebook groups kicking off that all the tour card holders were there.
I couldn't get over it.
Yeah, that's what I was like. It was like, just get on with it.
And none of the tour carders won anything. Singles was won by Nathan Potter, a young lad, and Bo won most of the women's events and mixed. So,
yeah,
one with Shannon in the pairs, etc.
One with the lovelies and the mixed triples.
Yeah. There was something interesting this weekend.
Was there?
Yes. I don't have any more videos of it that are capable of showing.
Oh, yeah.
But the Nottinghamshire Academy hosted a Royal Rumble night. Somebody has ran with the idea.
Good.
Oh, shit. Yeah, but we mentioned your titles earlier, Johnny boy. You piped up. Phil was going to say congratulations on winning something and then realised you won fucking multiple and didn't have long enough to list them. I
saw he won the belt and the tour event, and then the list was big.
They are turned to miscount. They hosted a Royal Rumble at the Nottinghamshire County venue. They had full-on walk-ons up the middle. The ref was dressed up as a WWE wrestler. I'll be honest, I haven't seen an awful lot more. I've been sent a video of one of those games. I don't know how they did it format-wise. I will dig into a bit more. But, yeah, somebody has done it, ran with it, sold some tickets, etc., friends and family. I'll try and get a bit more feedback on that. But I thought I'd mention that it has been done.
Well, also, we are trying to plan an exhibition with it as well.
Good luck. I won't be there.
So yeah, that could be quite cool. Someone asked, "Have I spoken to Gary?" Only on WhatsApp to say well done, and I just got the normal. I'm too old for this shit with a laughy face. But I'm sure we'll see him back in Pro Tour action on a week today as the Pro Tour returns.
Me and you have very different definitions of sure.
Hope. Is that better?
Yeah.
Should we do 10 minutes of question time then, God, where we can just make each other time? So get your questions in, everyone. Full Lap Bar will return on Thursday. I've got to say, Dan, Cam, and Carwin are doing an incredible job on the Full Lap Bar, and you lot are supporting it as well. Insane numbers loving the Full Lap Bar after the action, to the point where it's becoming a massive staple of the channel, Gob.
I'm so glad I came up with the idea, and now I'm too busy to actually put it into play, because they are pretty late nights. But yeah, the boys are absolutely killing it right now. So fair play to them and fair play to you if you love the Full Lap Bar. If you do, spread the word. The same with this show, obviously. Get it out to your friends and family. Let them know what we do here on the channel. Drop us a like, subscribe. If you get a chance to see some content you like, make sure you give it a share. We've been trialing a new bit of software that helps us with a load of shorts content. So if you see any of those flying around, TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook, etc., make sure you drop them in interaction as well. And yeah, just enjoy what we do here as much as possible.
Yeah, it's good. The Zone Tour events were live at the weekend on Dark Connect. DNZ, cool. I didn't see any of it. Tell your neighbour's dog to subscribe. I'd tell anyone to subscribe. The goal we've set ourselves internally is 50k by the Worlds. That's the goal. That's the ambition that we want to get to. Here's a good one. Do you think Dimitri Van den Berg and Michael Smith will both miss out on the match play?
Someone's been reading a certain blog. They're very hot topics on you know who.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They've been knob of the week back to back for the last 4 weeks.
Let me get darts rankings up.
Really concerned about one of them.
Yeah, look, there's signs that Bully Boy is heading in the right direction, I feel.
Oh, no, I'm more concerned about him than the other one.
Oh, no,
Jimmy's 19th. That's on the main order of merit. Michael Smith's 21st.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to break that. So it's the Pro Tour order of merit they're looking at for me.
Jimmy, 9.5 grand, 74th. Where is Michael Smith?
Michael Smith is 23. I think Bully Boy makes it. Dimitri doesn't.
How's Bully Boy done that? I'd go the other way. I think Dimmy could sneak on the overall.
I don't, because I don't see Ryan Searle playing poorly enough that Dimitri's going to make up money to catch him. Or jump Josh Rock or Ross Smith.
Ross is playing really nice. The concern here might be Peter Wright, you know.
I don't think he's defending enough to drop off before the match play, though.
Well, the race already takes that into account, doesn't it? So that's just a pure...
Yeah.
Still plenty of Euro Tours between now and then.
But Dimitri's, has he qualified for him?
Fucking get handed it anyway.
For me, Michael Smith makes it, Dimitri doesn't. Is it possible for SA, I'm guessing you mean South Africa, to compete in the World Cup? And if so, do you think Devon is in the team? I don't know how they're doing it.
Devon, eh?
What's that? But I don't know how they're picking the players for South Africa. Will it be a playoff?
A qualifier of some sort.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah, I hope Devon's in there. I spoke to Gary. All I got was the "I'm too old for this shit." He was in good spirits. What other questions have you got for us then? What do you think about Pluto TV in America having coverage of the European tours? It's available in European countries. Is it available on Pluto TV in European countries? I don't know if it is, but it's good. No, not in the UK. But look, any darts that has some kind of broadcasting is good, in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, God, that's a stat there. Does that change your mind? Dimitri not at ET 5 and 6.
Have the qualifiers been for those yet? I know there's qualifiers next week, isn't there?
Yeah.
Is he not at ET 5 and 6 as it stands, or is it not there full stop?
Anthony is in the house. How are we doing? Nipped out home for Trip the Alecki, couldn't get it. Good stuff, mate.
Was it Rob Cross?
Aye.
Grow the fuck up.
Do you think... I think Gary will play the Pro Tours, yeah. I like this one. Who completes the career Grand Slam first of the two Lukes? So
What's Humphrey missing?
The Nuke is missing the match play and the World Grand Prix. Cool Hand is missing the Premier League.
Humphreys.
But based on he's only got one of them to win, yeah, Humphreys.
Well, and it's the one they're playing in at the minute. He's got one of them to win, and it's round the corner. The other two are further along the line. So,
yeah,
if I'm going to make a prediction, it's going to be that, and the Grand Prix is a different animal, isn't it? We've got the UK out the way, which is not the easiest one to win.
No.
Tough time of the year to go to Minard.
I didn't see it, Kieran. I don't know if you did. What did you make of Merv King's debut at MSS? I didn't watch any of it, so I don't know.
I know his first game was 102, 103 average. He's ran the card in a tough little group as well, to be honest. Seems to have settled into the environment pretty well. Mervyn King is playing some great darts at the minute. When he gets called up, he was playing great darts before he lost his card. It was just too late for him. He's been playing great darts whenever he gets called up to the Pro Tour of late. He's been playing all right on the Challenge Tour, and he's going to be a fierce contender at this level, at seniors level. It took a fantastic performance from Derek Coulson to beat him at the Circus Tavern, and he's going to be tough to stop in this building as well.
I agree. What on earth have they done to the PDC? I'm not sure, mate.
Back to Murphy. I fully expect to be commentating on him on Saturday night in some shape or form. Whether he goes on to carry on winning Group A or comes through one of the other groups, the level of Mervyn King, I expect him to be there on Saturday.
That's a good question from Lendl. Did they have to open the venue early because of Merv?
I fucking won't be doing it tomorrow.
What do you think of Luke Humphrey's new car? Very nice. Do you pay tax on modus winnings? You should do, but players are down to the players themselves to sort their own obligations out. How much is a large doner in chips at Gaz? I've not been yet, so I don't know. Connor, I don't know if he's playing or not. The lists aren't out yet. I'm not a mind reader.
Ask his dad. He's in the chat.
Yeah. Anthony, is Luke playing the Pro Tours next week?
Jamie Atkins is a great player, John. One that's built into the weeks there. Has obviously been a couple of Group C performances before. Now got a shot at Group A. Gives him time to settle in and go from there,
yeah. To be fair, Webby's good at squash. And he's left-handed.
Recently got him on Instagram, so I saw his footballing performance from the weekend. They drew 3 each and he got booked.
He's run away from a suspension as well. He's top
naughty boy. Naughty boy.
Has Gob collected the wage shirt yet? No, not yet. But look, we're going to sort out. He's going to come up and film some stuff, so it's there waiting for him.
I'll be there in a few weeks' time alongside Dan, won't I?
Yeah, I will stick to my word. It's there for him.
Up the wadey.
Everyone, I have loved tonight's show. Every single bit of it. It has been good. The 2 hours have rattled along something chronic. It's been absolutely superb. Remember, this will be available as an audio only. We want a showdown. We'll give you it, Chris. We'll get it. We'll get it on. I'll go full Peter Manley.
I saw him practicing on stream yesterday. He needs as much time as possible to get ready.
There you go. Hot off the press, Connor, just for you. He will be in Leicester.
Whether or not we playing darts is a different matter. We just said we'll be in Leicester. To be fair, why else would you be in fucking Leicester? It is a dive.
Yeah.
Just to finish tonight's show. I hadn't insulted enough people and I felt like I was getting withdrawal symptoms.
Remember, we head to Newcastle for the Premier League. Get ready to wave those flags. But we have been online darts. Remember, this will be available as a podcast from all good providers or watch back on YouTube. If you haven't yet, drop us a like and subscribe. We massively appreciate all your support. But for this evening, I've been Phil Bars, Jack Garwood. We have been the Live Lounge, and we are signing out. Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you all very, very soon.
Bye.